the Workforce Connections podcast, where we discuss workforce development in Southern Nevada. Here's your host.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the WC podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. He is one of the reasons why we're here at Las Vegas Civic Center. I'd like to welcome Brian Knudsen, Ward 1, Councilman for the City of Las Vegas. Brian, we're excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
We live here at your house now, so you're kind enough to have us here.
You're a great roommate.
So, Brian, we like to start the podcast by, for those who might not know you, I know a lot of us do. You now somebody that the community really knows and admires and appreciates. But those that maybe don't know you, tell us where you grew up, share where you went to school, perhaps take us all the way to your first job after graduation from school.
Sure. I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I went to Taylorsville High School. I stayed in Utah until I was about 26, and I started working full-time when I was a junior in high school. I loved working. I worked for a part-time job as a bagger at a grocery store, and then I really kind of went into the workforce as a cashier at a truck stop when I was 16. I ended up graduating early from high school and staying at that truck stop until I was 19. And then I had about 20 jobs since then, and every job has kind of built on the last, and I love working.
When I can picture you, bagging groceries, and today it's all plastic, but were you in your days, was it the paper ones?
There's a science to bagging, and people have kind of forgotten the science to bagging, but it's like keep your frozen foods together, don't put your perishables next to vegetables. And so there was bagging competitions, and I did relatively well in those bagging competitions. When I go grocery shopping now, I prefer to do my own bagging because they've lost the art of bagging groceries.
And is geometry important? Because when I remember seeing paper bags, squares and things, go together. Is that still the case?
It makes a huge difference because if you bag somebody's groceries and the bag falls out as they're walking away, they look poorly upon you. So yeah, all those things matter.
They remember you. When you go today, though, again, you do your own, but you do it in plastic, not paper, right? Or the store that you go offers paper?
No, I've got my own reusable bags, and that's why I prefer to do it because they're cube bags and they have a hard bottom, and so I can fit everything in 3 bags, no matter how much stuff I buy. It works out great.
Are you also the type of shopper who in the car has crates where those bags fit neatly?
The bags are cubes, and so they just slide in, and everything fits perfectly. Yes.
Very cool. So, Brian, one of the things that I appreciate about you is that not a lot of people know, but in a long galaxy far away, you were one of the few people who are still left here at the city in office who know Workforce Connections since its inception, when it was called the Southern Nevada Workforce Investment Board. And we'll talk more about that later, but so walk us about the rest of your journey. So you did a lot of jobs in your youth, but tell us what key moments shaped how you got into public service and became a member of the council for the city of Las Vegas.
There's some key moments that define my trajectory, I guess. One was I was an emergency dispatcher and got really engaged in emergency management, so how a community responds to disasters. I did that in Salt Lake and got an undergraduate degree in health education with a focus on emergency management. That led to an interest in how government responds to its community in general. And so I got a graduate degree in public administration in California. And I just happened to be working for the California governor's office back in 2004. And that was the time where Gray Davis got recalled and Arnold Schwarzenegger became the governator.
Wow.
And so when I came out to Las Vegas, one of my first interviews was with the city of Las Vegas. And that was one of the key questions is, did you work for the Terminator? And I did. And here I am. That was how I entered into my public service as a city of Las Vegas employee. And I worked for the city of Las Vegas for 14 years before leaving to the private sector and then coming back as an elected official.
That's so cool. And Brian, is it true that the governor used to drive his electric big vehicle to work?
Back in the day, it was not electric. No, that was we're going all the way back to 2005, 2004. So it was a Hummer. Yeah,
it was the gas guzzling Hummer.
You could see him. It was the gas guzzling Hummer. Yeah.
Okay.
No apologies back then. We didn't realize the environment mattered. That just came to light about a decade ago.
That's very cool. So now tell us about this role, because again, you spent time in the private sector, and I always believe that gives you great perspective. I spent 20 years on the Las Vegas Strip, and it helps me be a better public servant today. When you when your goals are to be as efficient as possible. And I know you share some of these ambitions. But a lot of people think that this elected role is a part-time job. I know better because I see you guys. I don't know how somebody could do it part-time. It really is more than a full-time job. So share with our audience what your day-to-day looks like, and even your weekend, because you're at events anytime. Tell us what it's like to be a member of this council.
So I look at it as the city business. We have briefings every Tuesday. So I just came from briefings. Those usually last for an hour to 2.5 hours. Council meetings usually last for 4 to 8 hours. I'm also on the transportation board, and those are monthly meetings. The flood control board, those are monthly meetings. The recommending committee, those are every 2 weeks. And so for each of those meetings, there's a series of briefings that happen.
You just exceeded 40 hours a week.
There's a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lobbyists that come and talk to you. And then there's a lot of constituents. And I think I would say I have a strong relationship with my constituent base. A lot of them text me and call me. And so that's kind of how I set it up. So that it is kind of night times and weekends where people call and text and say, hey, a light's out. I get those all the time. A light's out, and can you send somebody to fix it? Or there's some kids playing in a park that are doing some things they shouldn't be doing. And so I get those pretty regularly. What I like about the job is the bully pulpit. It is an important role, and being able to call a meeting and have people show up matters a lot. And so I've been able to use my time on the council to call meetings together and say, here's some key things that are important to me, but also important to the communities that I represent, and how can we work together with the city as a partner, or with me as a partner, and some of the other community agents coming together to make the world a better place.
And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit, because we're getting to work with you a little bit now closer because of that. I say you're a man of action, because the last time I was at a city council meeting to give a report. You asked a simple question. You said, how can we work? I work a little closer with you guys. And half jokingly, I said, we're neighbors now. We live all you have to do is cross the plaza and we can talk. And when that council meeting was over, you were here. And so we started working right away. I think that's good. And now that we're working together, I find out that one of your priorities is building a talent pool for this medical industry that, everybody talks about, burgeoning medical industry, more hospitals. We have, it was in the news, the breaking ground of the first standalone children's hospital. Mitch was here in our program just a few weeks ago. So besides that one, can you tell us, and we can talk about that one too, what are your other top priorities for Ward 1?
Yeah, so healthcare, mental health care, those are probably personally motivated. I think it's important to pretty much everybody I've ever spoken with. On behalf of the city of Las Vegas, I've worked with the other Southern Nevada jurisdictions, and we formed the Council of Governments. It used to be formed as the Regional Planning Coalition. And so we're 4 meetings in now, and our key priority that we're focusing in on is group or residential homes. This is a key issue in pretty much throughout the valley. They're groups that are either licensed or illegally operating and under the auspices of taking care of people who are either cognitively disabled or physically disabled or older. And they're not doing the best of jobs. And so they're creating neighborhood issues, police and fire calls, code enforcement calls. And so as a representative of the Council of Governments, all of Southern Nevada is working closely with the state to find ways to enforce laws that exist, or if those laws don't exist, to create more stronger laws to create safer environments for people to live in neighborhoods.
So, Brian, I think, and this is obviously easier said than done, building a talent pool for a medical industry, as you know, doesn't start in the universities or the community college or any of these post-secondary skill acquisitions. It really starts in that earliest of talent pipelines, the K through 12 system. And so that coordination is a monster. And I know that's the work ahead of us that we're going to do with you. What other big opportunities and or challenges, both sides of the coin, do you see for this city, even for the region, for Southern Nevada, as we move into the future?
This is where I think our work is going to bloom, is post-secondary, they can train people. So you can train a phlebotomist, you can train a x-ray tech or a phlebotomy tech or a nurse or a doctor. But if you go through that education, you also need to be trained in a hospital or a medical setting. You need that on-the-job training, the clinical hours to get your certificate. And we don't have enough professionals to provide clinical hours. And so there's a logjam of training people and getting them those clinical hours. And that's where I think as a community, we really need to focus in on is how do we break through that logjam, because we just don't have enough of those people to provide the services we need.
And like you said, it's going to take employers doing their part as well, right? Really creating the opportunities, braided funding. Those are all key words, I think, that easier said than done. But I know, again, Man of Action, we're going to get in there and pull on those levers and try to make it happen. And we want to support you. Another thing that I think people talk about a lot is innovation, technology. And the city has been very innovative. You know, the solar array here is a visual display. You know, this beautiful campus we live in now called Las Vegas Civic Center with an outdoor stage and the green areas. It's just wonderful to be here. What role do you see technology playing as we move forward in the improvement of city services and the quality of life for its residents?
So I'm going to talk back on the healthcare side. Another missing component is some really smart doctors really like to do research, and we don't have enough research space. So when we get into the technology side of it, the city has launched a $10 million biohealth competition. And the goal was to bring focus to how innovative Las Vegas can be for biohealth, bioengineering, biotech firms around the world to say, how can we invest in Las Vegas? Not only expanding our access to healthcare and research around healthcare, but expanding our economic base as well. So in the fall, and you're on the selection committee, in the fall, we'll be announcing a winner for a $10 million competition. And that group will set up home shop right here in the medical district, and we'll start expanding those opportunities as well.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation to, again, participate in that and immerse myself in that. I've started to hear some terms as when you say about biotech and research, is the word wet lab part of that ecosystem?
It started out for me as wet lab. Okay. And a wet lab, it sounds super complicated, yeah. But I'm not going to be the smartest person in the room. But a wet lab is researchers, brain researchers, heart researchers, cancer researchers. They need a space where they can conduct studies. And sometimes that includes rats. Sometimes it includes vessels of blood. Wow. And the chemicals that get released all have to go through an expensive HVAC system. So when we talk about a wet lab, we need to be able to extinguish fires because it's a lab. Mm-hmm. We need to be able to vent fumes because it's a lab as well. And those have some very specific criteria for them to be approved through the FDA. And so that wet lab space is also a lab space that can be used for research. And that's how we get to this biotech, biohealth, whatever you want to call it, is for research to take place to make people healthier.
And part of this plan is to, again, we don't have enough of that wet lab space, and we need to create more of it and also staff it. That's the core of this. Wow. And I was wondering, and now it's my answer. I'm a mechanical engineer, so I think in the sense of fluids. For me, wet stuff are fluids. And so now I kind of see a biotech lab in my mind a little better, blood and things.
That's what it is. Yeah.
That's very cool. So besides us, already, of course, partnering with you and the city to help on the talent development, and again, not that we do it, we bring in our partners who are Joan Ebert, who sits on the Workforce Connections board, Stacy Klippenstein, who sits on our board, but also, as you said, employers, and that's why we have Mary Beth Sewell on the board, Peter Guzman, to be the voice of business. We also have other CEOs of companies and business owners, because it's important that the demand side of this equation of the labor market are the ones leading the actual supply side, the actual talent development. And so what that may be being a very clear opportunity for us, Workforce Connections, to partner with you. What other opportunities might there be that you would want to see, put on the list, put on the table, opportunities to partner together?
I think a lot of it's terminology. And so this is how I see it anyway. As an elected official, sometimes we get asked about our positions around education, for example, or healthcare, or economic diversification. And it's expected that we have like these three distinct answers. And the truth is that you're in this leadership role as I am. It's the same people for all three conversations. So how do we kind of blend the conversations for legislation in the future to say that workforce is healthcare, healthcare is workforce? If we expand our access to quality healthcare, automatically we're diversifying our economy, because this is the second greatest economic driver in Nevada is healthcare. And so I think we just really need to work at expanding our understanding of these words. It's not just education. It's not just UNLV, for example. It's not just funding UNLV. It's funding our future pipeline of doctors and nurses and dentists. Because if you don't expand those things at UNLV, those things don't exist here. And I think as a partner with Workforce Connections and all the other public agencies, it's really helping our community understand that all these things are so connected. It's not individual and specific, and it's not that I'm a K-12 advocate and that's all I can think about is I need to have healthcare in order for my kids to be healthy. And that's what makes me a K-12 advocate. And you need both things at the same time.
No, I love how you talk about that interconnectivity. And, that's happening organically, I think, here in Building B at Las Vegas Civic Center. Vegas Chamber, Voice of the Business Employers is here. Workforce Connections is here now. Cisco Aguilar and the Secretary of State this week, they're here now, which is going to be a great place to access all those resources in one building, one site, one campus. And then, of course, I think we all know it's been out there in the media that UNLV has announced their plans to join us all here in this building as well. So what a great, symmetry, I think, forming here at Civic Center. Was that something you planned, or is it happening, by chance?
Well, first, I think we need to come up with a different name than Building B. So that's the first challenge is we need to be more creative about that. But, I've been in public life for a minute now. And I've tried with UNLV and CSN. So I'm really proud of the fact that we had UNLV operating out of Fifth Street School for about 15 years. Really great, innovative programs for the time. CSN was actually operating out of the third floor of Las Vegas City Hall for about 10 years.
That's right.
Both those agreements I negotiated. So having UNLV move in is not something new for the city, and it's not new for me. I think it demonstrates that we're growing up as a community. We're growing up as a downtown urban core. And at the end of the day, we will be successful if our partners are successful. And it's great to have those cross collaborations where you're walking in the plaza and you bump into a UNLV president and say, let's go talk, because there's some things that we need to do.
Yeah. And the largest chamber in the state. And, that's awesome. And, like you mentioned that you were part of those. That was your former life as a staffer before you went to the private sector, when you were involved in locking in those deals with CSN. And again, to get back to my original comment, back when you were staff, then Lisa Morris-Hibler was here. You, if you will, got involved with this organization called Southern Nevada's Workforce Investment Board. And then there was rocky times. Can you? Is it easy for you to see the progression, the positive evolution for our organization from then to now?
It's a significant change. Back in the day, there was a different headquarters for the WIB, as we used to call it at the city. There were kind of dark, gloomy offices. The staff there would kind of pull you aside and complain about the working conditions. There was accusations about fraud in the system.
Wow.
Take it forward to where we are right now. You have a beautiful space. You've put a lot of energy and time into it. Your employees are happy and engaged. And there's no allegations of fraud or abuse. What you have is a happy community that's coinciding, and the place where you can bring people together and have these fun and difficult conversations. That seems to be the place that you've put together for Southern Nevada. So we should be grateful of the evolution.
Yeah, and I'm grateful that the city allowed it all to happen. The city, as you said, built this space for us and invited us to sign a long-term deal. It's going to be here while I'm gone. It's a 20-year deal, and so I want to leave the organization better than I found it. I think the city's helping us do that. One of the things I think that I think about a lot is, this evolution, as you said, that has brought us to a campus where one day we're going to be walking in, running to the president of a university, the CEO of the largest chamber of the state, the Secretary of State. All here is exciting. Something less talked about is, another that I appreciate about the city is the activation of Civic Plaza, or Carolyn Goodman Plaza, is awesome, because there's live music from everything from mariachis, country, salsa. There's food trucks all the time. There's farmers markets. There's civic engagements of all type. But coming next, we already have pancakes across the street, in the
Baby
garage.
stacks.
Baby stacks across the street.
Yep.
Jimmy John's at the municipal at the city hall. And then the sign just went up for Building A. I know
Teriyaki Madness.
Yep. And then Building B will one day have Boom Bang.
That's true. Restaurant and bar. Yeah, it's how magic happens.
Yeah. How much can we? I can't wait for one day after 5 o'clock. You and I go to Boom Bang.
That's how it works.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, Brian, you helped create Nevada's Big Give, which raised millions of dollars for nonprofits across the state. Tell me a little bit about what inspired you to do this, and what have you learned from that experience?
Philanthropy is really hard. I understand that everyone has a different skill set. And so I've realized that my skill set is more on the government fundraising side. I like that side of it a little bit better. But I worked with nonprofits for a good portion of my career and realized how hard it is to fundraise. And so Nevada's Big Give was actually a fun memory for me where we just asked anybody to give what they could to their favorite organization and then made it a little bit competitive for nonprofits to compete for who got the most donations, who got the most money coming in. And it created a enormous energy in the community. I like people competing. That's probably been very apparent. I really like the idea of competition. And so Nevada's Big Give was a foray into how the nonprofit community works. And they're just as integral to how successful we are as a community as the government sector or the private sector. And so when I did leave the city of Las Vegas, I was the CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs and had my own chance at raising money and working with children who needed a lot of services, needed a lot of programming, needed a lot of adults who care about them. And I think that's what I think about when I think about Nevada's Big Give is we have a whole part of our community that sometimes get overlooked because of the size of government or the size of the private sector. But underneath that, there's a whole lot of people and a whole lot of organizations that are taking care of basic needs.
I didn't know. How many years did you spend at the Boys and Girls Club?
I was there for a short time. I love being around kids. I really enjoyed being around kids. I don't like having a boss. And that was, I think I ended up in a good role because having a boss is not my favorite place to be.
Well, the same role today, right? Your boss is
my kids are my boss now. My kids do a really good job of telling me what to do.
Okay. So, then that's great to know about you and the philanthropic experience because something that not a lot of people know, it's going to become more known in the near future. We have formed a new nonprofit or a 501c3 type 2 here in Southern Nevada called Jobs First Southern Nevada. And it's an effort to, again, be able to continue to tap into the philanthropic world who wants to fund our work. But Workforce Connections, as you know, as a WIB or a governmental agency, can't provide that tax benefit to those donors. And so we've been approached by the Walter S. Johnson Foundation, the Bomer Foundation. And so our mechanism is, much like they have the mayor's fund, the city, we are going to have now a place to be able to extend that tax benefit for those interested in helping us scale our work. So when I need advice about philanthropy and how to deal with donors, I know I can call you now and you can help me.
And that's another demonstration of an evolution. Our community's growing up. And it's super exciting to hear that because for every way you can build a widget and train a person and do something good in our community, there's somebody else that wants to be a part of that. And we should be finding every possible way for them to get involved and engaged.
Yes. So Brian, let's shift gears a little bit. We've talked a lot about your professional life and how even, family blends into everything. I know kids are your boss and I've seen you bring them to when you swear in. The very first time I remember I saw them, just a few weeks ago at the event we hosted here for you, and they've grown up so quickly. But I want to talk a little bit about your personal life because when you're not working as an elected official or volunteering your time as well, which you do, and you're passionate about giving back, when it's really your time and your family's time, what do you use to recharge your batteries? Because we all need to recharge our batteries, refill our cup to be able to show up on Monday to our jobs and be there, be present, be able to give the best of ourselves. What hobbies, activities do that for you? I know it involves your family, but share with us a little bit how you plug in and recharge.
I work out. Like that's kind of, it's 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. where I don't have kids or anybody. People still text me, but I generally ignore it between 5 and 6.
Does that mean weights, working out?
I do. Yeah. That's kind of it. I work out and run, and that's kind of how I recharge for the most part.
At home, or do you go somewhere?
No, just at home. Oh. It's being by myself. So there's
recharge up here too.
Lots of like clips of me saying like I'm a very introverted person, and so it takes a lot of energy for me to be around lots of people all the time. And so the morning time when I'm alone is probably the best time for me to kind of center and focus in on the things that matter most. And so on the outside, when I'm not by myself, I generally like the system level work. Like I really enjoy like figuring out like how each of our institutions can work together, because it's not natural. It's not easy. It's very easy to become siloed in our community. And a lot of the big things that happen in our town all start over sharing a drink or having lunch with somebody and writing down like what's important to you, what's important to me, and how can we make those things come together. And so it's that system level work that all is based on pretty healthy relationships where you get to share about the things that you want to do. And that. I like that too. That's my favorite part of the job.
So early in the morning, Brian, when you are pumping the iron, you're still thinking about work? You're solving problems?
I love working. I've been working since I was 12 years old, and I absolutely adore working. I can't imagine my life without working.
That's cool. What makes you smile, happy, laugh when you travel, seeing your kids play sports?
There's the city does a little TV show. So every 6 weeks I film a TV show, and I just filmed one. And I went to the Rainbow Youth Theater Camp, and my son was there, and I surprised him. So the film crew had me come out with the curtains opening, and I surprised him in front of all of his friends. And it's embarrassing him. And I told him, like, why? He was like, why are you doing this? And I was like, I like embarrassing you. Like, those are the things that really make me happy. Yeah. If I can embarrass him in front of all of his friends, and then he gives it just like he takes it. So there's 3 cameras rolling, and there's 40 of his friends all around. And he says, you embarrass me, can I embarrass you? And I was like, okay. So I handed him the microphone, and he tells the most embarrassing possible story of me in front of all of his friends. And those are the things that I think will resonate with me forever, is my kids trying to embarrass me, and I try to embarrass them, and we're better for it.
That's really cool. Yeah, and you can tell it in your expression that's the joy of your life when they're present, when you're sharing with them, that's recharging you. You can tell in your smile. What I'll take away today is, again, that piece that you don't turn it off, even when you're in your me time from 5 to 6, sweating, working out, exercising your muscles. You're still exercising this muscle, and you're still thinking, solving problems and whatnot. That says a lot about you. Brian, if there's somebody listening today that can relate to your journey, and let's say that they're 18 years old, so they're beginning their professional journey, and maybe they bag groceries like you or worked in jobs like that, but they have bigger ambitions. They want to be the president of an organization like the Boys and Girls Club, the CEO. They want to one day be a member of a city council. What advice would you give that 18-year-old boy or girl today?
I would say follow through. If you want to do something, you have to follow through with it. And I'll give you an example. I have lots of people come and ask me for something. I mean, it's almost a daily occurrence where they come and ask for money, or they ask for policy, or they ask for something. And my response, and it's very strategic, and I'm pretty open about it, is you do this for me, and then I'll bend over backwards for you. And I ask them for some simple task. And I would say at least 95% of the people never follow through. And so it helps me to kind of figure out what I get to focus on, because I only focus in on the 5% that do follow through. And so for anyone younger, I just say, if someone gives you an opportunity, if someone gives you a task, it's something that you care enough about, then follow through 100% of the time, because you never know who that person is. You never know what opportunities that lie ahead of you. And if you say no, or if you close your mind off, or if you don't feel strong enough or capable enough, then you're closing your life off to a whole world of opportunities. And it's a lot easier to walk into an opportunity than to never know it happened.
That's great advice. I'm going to share with you, or maybe an opportunity, because I know you're a man of action. You're going to follow through. Just yesterday, we got off the phone with the staff of the acting U.S. Secretary of Labor, and he's expressed interest to come and see some of the things happening here that you know about, that make our region now lead, if you will, the efforts of workforce development, make some of my peers want to come and replicate some of the stuff you know about, the libraries, the Chamber of Commerce, the partnership with the city, and so on, the WETC, the ETC, the MEDC, all these things happening. But my ask of you would be, would you be a part of that visit, and maybe share with him some of these things that we're working on, the higher ed initiatives, the talent pipeline. Can I ask you for that?
I would love that. Okay. Yeah. Every opportunity is a yes.
Great.
Never say no.
Well, we're going to make that happen then. Brian, any final thoughts? Is there I know you are involved with a lot of things. Would you like to share with the audience any particular date or event coming up that you would want them to know about? No, the city, or?
I would say pay attention to the world around you. There's a lot of activities in Southern Nevada, and you can see how we're evolving. And it's your opportunity as a citizen, as someone who's engaged, to be as engaged as possible, because it's a lot of fun in Nevada to look back and say, I built that, or I was responsible for that program, and bring it down to the human level. Is there someone growing up that I feel like I contributed to their well-being? And that is the best feeling in the entire world, when someone comes back 10 years later, 20 years later, and says, you opened a door for me. So if you can open a door for somebody else, you should do it, because nothing else is more gratifying.
That's great. Well, thank you for sharing your insight today, a little bit about your personal life too. I'm looking forward to the work we've set out to accomplish together. And we hope to have you back to talk more about that.
I can't wait. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. That's it for another episode of the WC Podcast. We want to thank all of the folks on our team that make this happen, behind the lenses, behind the lights. And we want to see you at the next episode. So until then, stay safe. Brian, thank you for staying over to do our bonus segment called In the Hot Seat. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Bring it.
The first segment is called Your Favorites. I'm going to give you several categories. You're going to give me the favorite thing in that category. Let's start with an easy one. Favorite food.
Pizza.
Favorite beverage with dinner.
Water.
Favorite dessert after dinner.
Ice cream.
Favorite way to start your day.
Working out.
Favorite way to unwind after a long day.
Sleeping.
Favorite hobby or weekend activity.
Watching bad TV.
Favorite vacation spot.
Newport.
Favorite holiday.
Christmas.
Favorite car you've ever owned.
Volvo.
Favorite college sports team.
I don't watch sports. Sorry.
Oh, so the next question is irrelevant. Favorite professional sports team.
Sorry.
You made it through the first category, call your favorites. I didn't know that about you. Not a sports fan. The second segment is called Tough Choices. I'm going to give you two choices. Hopefully you can pick one. If you really can't, that's fine. You can pick both. Vacation or staycation.
Vacation.
Fly or drive there.
Fly.
Hotel or Airbnb.
Both.
One day when you retire, will it be in a ranch or in the city?
City.
If you had a day all by yourself, would you spend it by the ocean or hiking in the mountains?
I would watch bad TV.
Utah Utes or USC Trojans?
Both.
Have more time or more money?
More time.
If you were a superhero, the ability to fly or breathe underwater?
Fly.
The ability to speak with animals or speak any foreign language?
Animals.
Here's where we round the final stretch and it gets hard, Brian. You have to pick one of these two. Truth or kindness?
Truth.
Actions or words?
Actions.
Justice or grace?
Justice.
You made it through tough choices.
Did I win?
Not yet. The final segment is called Finish the Sentence. I'm going to give you 90% of the sentence. You're going to finish it for me. Brian, if you could visit any place in the world, it would be?
Australia.
The best part about living here in Las Vegas is?
Building it up.
Your favorite thing about serving as the Ward 1 council member for the city is?
Building up Las Vegas.
If you could travel back in time to any year, any period, you would travel to?
I like this time period now.
3 words that describe you are?
I would say old. Old comes up first. I don't know why. I think I'm old. I am thoughtful. I'm an intent listener, and I care deeply.
I couldn't agree more. And doing the WC podcast here with us today was?
Super fun.
Awesome. Brian, thank you for staying over doing the hot seat.
Thank you very much.